tiles, my feet against the door. How long have I been in this space? Arms over eyes, help me retrace. How did I become the doormat here? Memories spinning around my head seem pretty cavalier. Little by little you take control. It's a little uncivil how your game's in motion. And I don't even notice that I'm playing your game. Do you leave me a warning thinking I'm the one to from my heart has made it pretty clear. Little by little you take control. It's a little uncivil how your game's in motion. And I don't even notice that I'm playing your game. Do you leave me warning thinking I'm the one to
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of People Who Inspire. Every week I try to bring onto a platform young people whose journeys can serve as a blueprint for your own journey. So today I'm really excited to have a brother, a friend I've known for some years now. Hello Schandorf, how are you?
Hi friends, I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm doing excellent. I was looking back and I was asking myself, it's been quite some time since we last met in person, actually.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
Been
years.
Yes, actually, it's been years. And are you based in Kumasi now or Accra? Where are you based now?
So now I'm based in Accra, in Tema. So that's where our company office is. We are in Tema Community 1. So I'm based in Tema now. Yes.
Oh, wow. It's amazing how we all started in, Kumasi, at the tech hub,
That's right.
Oh man, it's been a great journey. I'm really excited to have you. And I want to say a big thank you also, for kind of gracing us with your presence. And, the whole point for me is that, society tends to celebrate people who we deem to have arrived in life. And so we kind of recycle the same inspirational stories from the same people. And so, like, for me, this PWR platform is like really to share the journeys. I don't even mind if the destination is not clear, but the journey is as important as the destination. So I'm really happy that you're going to share a bit of your life, your journey with us, and then we'll delve into the topic of logistics, Jetstream, and how AI, is going to impact, for example, the operations that you do in your company. So, Schandorf, to kick the conversation started, to get it started, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where did you grow up? Where did you school? From JHS, SHS to university. Can you just walk us through that bit of journey, how it was growing up as well?
Awesome, Prince. And first of all, thank you so much. For the consistency Sometimes some of this work you start, and if you're not consistent and really committed, you don't see through at this far. And several years you've been doing this, and great to have me on the platform. So for me, I was born and bred in Bricom in the Brown region. So that's where my parents lived, and that was where I was born. And I've been Presbyterian in terms of school from, I think, nursery to senior high school. So I went to Bricom Presby, primary B. They have like different types of, we have A, B, and C. So I went to B from nursery to GHS. And then after GHS, I went to Presby Senior High in Bricom, and then proceeded to KNUST, and I did natural resources at KNUST. And there was a really, interesting story that happened in tech. So I went to tech, and when I was going to university, my goal was not just like after school, the job that you get and what you become, but for me, I just wanted to go to university to learn about leadership and network people. And then also, I just wanted to also break some kind of family record, because I from my knowledge, there was nobody in my family that has been to the university. And I was like, okay, let me just go. If I finish university and I don't even get a job, I've been, selling and doing things as a young boy to support life, but I would have broken that kind of chain, that kind of pattern. So let me go to university. I went to university. I was so poised. I want to lead. I want to learn about leadership. And then from day one, I was just, leading the class, calling the lecturers to come and then teach on time, giving them, morning inspiration and preaching. And everybody was like, oh, this gentleman is going to be the class rep. And it was like, it's going to happen. So there's not going to be an election. So we did this for a couple of, I think almost like a month. And then people say, no, there must be an election because there's a constitution at the faculty. There is some kind of, so people wanted. So let's open the nomination. I was like, okay, no problem. And everybody was like, oh, Schandorf will win this hands down. They said that, okay, can you guys, introduce yourself and tell us about your vision? And then everybody, started introducing themselves, mentioned the school and all of that. Then I said, okay, I'm Schandorf. I went to Prosec. And, Franks there were like, or that year. I was like, really?
Oh,
What is this? Or that year? I didn't know. And it was like, oh, what Prosec did you go? I said, Bricom Prosec. And they said, come on, there's only one Prosec. Oh, and it was really funny, and it was fun. So I didn't have anybody from my school at the faculty, even at the entire university. I think we're not more than like 6 or up to 10, and I lost that election, so it was really sad.
That's
yeah, I lost it. I lost completely. And when I was really heartbroken, and I went to go sit on my bench, I went to sit on my friend Aloysius' side, and that was when we became friends. And it's like, oh, Shandy, me too. I came from not a popular school, so let's just be friends. If nobody wants to, because your school, you don't have schoolmates. Me too, I don't have schoolmates, so let's be schoolmates and friends. And that's how it started.
Oh wow. Yeah. It's amazing. Like, because I met you, Aloysius. That's through this tech hub, Farmerline. We'll get into that. But one thing I saw, like personally, during those times when we used to go and hustle at the tech hub, and I cast my mind back and I realized that each one of us who was consistent at the tech hub, like yourself, Aloysius, Ima, like the core squad, by God's grace, we all have been able to kind of build something for ourselves, right?
That's true.
It's really interesting, that consistency. But, yeah.
I think the tech hub was really great. And I pray that the culture is kept and is keep serving the purpose like we had. It was really great opportunity, Prince.
No, 100%. I totally agree. I think we underestimate the power of creating space for people to just kind of innovate and to think. Because I remember sometime when we were at the tech hub, sometimes Aloysius would either call on me or like anyone there to kind of brainstorm. Sometimes we brainstorm on, because I was kind of coming from another field, right? And so sometimes we just kind of brainstorm, and that kind of culture that we cultivated kind of instilled in us some, I don't know how to put it, but then this energy to kind of keep pushing. Really amazing.
Really, really amazing.
Wow.
Really
Wow.
amazing.
And may I ask, like, so whilst you're in Brekum, did you have, or growing up, did you have anyone you looked up to, any inspiration or a mentor that you kind of took inspiration from? Because I also know that when you're coming from like a less privileged area, sometimes the lack of exposure would mean that your aspirations are kind of limited, right? So sometimes you are likely not to even aspire to get to the university. So I'm kind of curious, like, did you have any kind of inspiration or any mentor or anything like that growing up?
Absolutely. So from primary school to senior high school, there wasn't really a significant mentor at that time, but it was the fact that we wanted to go to school and really learn hard and make something to ourselves. So really, the perception there was after school, you go to nursing training college or training college, which was good as well. And then after school, I got opportunity to be a church member of one of the transformative, youth church in Brecum called Impact Family Chapel. So my pastor there, Reverend Adma Kwesi Solomon, raised us as young people because we were like, good at our former schools. So we had name, and he was a sort of like a senior in Brecum Presbyterian High School. So he literally brought us into his house and really was exposing us to books and leadership. So we heard about story of Helen Keller, somebody who was, blind and then mute and could not hear and all of that, and rising, above all of those things. So our batch were really so into books. You have to read books. So how to win friends and influence people, rich that, poor that. And there was like that kind of competition to read books. And that's what we were taught when you're even walking around, have a book, you're going to meet somebody. So he really mentored us. And the kind of people that he mentored since I think 2007, almost all of them have been really, really great people. So for me, at that time, the opportunity was to be somebody influential to society, somebody that is impactful to society. It was not like really even like money or anything, but it was like be a change, be an impact. And that was really helpful. So when I went to university, within that 1 year from 2007 to 2008, it was like full capacity building and the mind was exposed so high. So there were a lot of things that I knew that my other colleagues, even at university, didn't know, at that time. Yeah.
It's incredible, like I always say that, and that's why, like, I try to create these platforms, because sometimes a word you hear from someone or some nudge you get from someone who like is ahead of you can change the course of your life, right? Like you rightly said, this pastor, the fact that he was able to mobilize, a few of you and inculcate in you that, desire to read and expose yourself to knowledge, that is transformative enough. You didn't have to, build a multi-million-dollar mansion or whatever it is. That small act,
That's right.
I really appreciate such people.
Yeah, absolutely. And God really, bless the pastor. He was feeding us literally, and it was like what used to be like tech hub. So that spiritual hub was leadership, capacity, and we pray, we read books like, you have to read books, and if you have to have money, you have to buy books. And that has been part of me. Literally, like every month, at least there's a book that I'm reading. And once you develop that culture, it becomes part of you for the rest of your life. So
And what is, I'm also curious because before I even got to kind of know you, back in KN University, observing you from afar, I realized that you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you like someone who is quite principled and like very like organized,
That's
right?
right.
What are some of the principles that you live by that you think has helped to bring you this far?
Amazing. I think there are a couple of them, but I would maybe two that I would emphasize.
Yeah.
This pastor really tells us about something that is very philosophical. He says that life is really complex, live is simple. And at that time, I think I didn't really understand it much, but as I grow and look at that kind of philosophy, there was no need to pretend. There was no need to like being around. Like, you just have to look at, the key things that you need to do, measured on the major things and minor on the minor things, right? So life is complex. Don't add things up, right? If you're going to make a decision about, which, work that you have to do, it is that complex. So just, be simple about it. There are a lot of people that really pretend. They pretend about their identity, they pretend about their skill set, they pretend about their knowledge about things. And if you do that, you're not able to measure yourself. So admit who you are. Admit that, you are from less endowed school. You need to do extra. You need to read more. Literally, people have that perception that people that come from even less endowed, they have problems with pronunciation of the R and the L. And so some of my friends were telling me when I came to school, I said, okay, no problem. So intentionally, I need to like learn that word, that letter, and pronounce it really, really well, right? So life is complex. The friends you choose is going to be complicated. Anything, but just leave it simple. At the end of the day, you want to multiply and be fruitful, right? So anybody that can add value to you, that is the person that you have to be friend to. The second principle is also about like wisdom, and I learned this thing from Mike Murdoch. And then he says that wisdom is ability to know differences, right? So differences in people. No two people are the same. Prince is different. I'm different, right? Differences in places. Differences in places mean that your university lifestyle is different from even training college, is different from nursing, it's different from that. You have to understand that there's difference between the prison and the palace. So the way you behave at the prison is really different from the way you behave at the palace. So you may be a Joseph in the prison and may be a master, but that kind of skill set may not make you the Joseph that will lead at the palace. So you have to also understand that. So those are the two key principles that I learned. And loyalty. Loyalty. Don't take advantage of people. Don't let people take advantage of you. And always communicate to people. Let people have clear expectation. I want us to be franks. My expectation from you is this. This is what I can do. We always get depressed because our expectations are not met. So
Yeah.
if it would align, with an expectation, what Prince can give to you, and you are clear about that, there is no way you'll be disappointed what Prince is not able to give to you because he doesn't have the capacity. So expectations must always align. Yeah.
I think these are very profound. And one of the things you said that struck me, the most was sometimes I think that depending on our background, we kind of belittle ourselves. And so we limit even our dreams and aspirations. You said something that, when you're coming from let's say, less endowed area, one, society has an expectation of you. That's number one. Number
Right.
two is that those expectations can cloud your personal expectations of yourself.
That's right.
So you said, okay, people who come from this place, this is how they behave. And because of that, that kind of stigma, all your dreams and aspirations goes up to that expectation and you can't go beyond. Right.
Absolutely.
And it's very profound when you said, it got me thinking like, very similar to your situation. Mine was from JHS to SS, right? I was the only person from my school. and the first person from my JHS who went to Infanspem. And I remember when we got there, and normally Form 1 we are asked to introduce ourselves and say which school you are coming from and the number of ones that you got. So I realized that even like in my class, it was like the same schools, like either Morningstar, Engelbert. The guys knew themselves, like and they all. And I was the only first person to come to the school, and then at that point, I almost felt like, oh, would I be able to survive here? That kind of thing. But then quickly with time, I kind of changed my mind, to be able to go beyond those limitations.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And Prince, the good thing is that the times we are in now, those limitations are not strong, right? So have access to books. If you read books, that is an opportunity to be mentored by great people that hitherto you would have access to them. So when this pastor trained us in those days, what it was, he told us that go and talk to some of the successful people in Breakum. And so every Sunday when I closed from church, I listened to all the rich people in Breakum, went to their homes and asking them questions and interacting with them. How was your journey? And so I learned so much from that. And reading books, I also was able to broaden my horizon, what is possible and what is not possible. Today, wherever you are, you can be mentored by Elon Musk. You can be mentored by Prince, by following Prince on LinkedIn, on Twitter. Every day, Elon Musk is writing, Mark Zuckerberg, all of these people. There are a lot of videos about them on the internet. So that is the opportunity to broaden and break that barrier, right? But if you don't, then it's going to be on you for a long time.
Oh, this is so true. And for those of you watching, like what Schandorf is saying, like 100%, I share a lot of, let's say, similarities with Schandorf because, by God's grace, I also kind of exposed myself to reading. I just like yourself, I didn't, let's say, grow up in an environment where, like people have gone to school or anything, so, and I remember very well in JHS preparing for BC. I lived in a compound house, so normally I would have to wait in the evening. I used to there's this tailor who used to sew, in the house. So, and he had a table for sewing. So when he closes and he parks his sewing machine and everything, then I can use his bench and his table to study. Right. And usually it's late at night, and I still remember it's like really fresh in my mind. So if you're watching today's episode, right, don't ever think that where you're coming from defines where you're going, right? Your journey is not limited to where you're coming from. You might come from a very poor, limited background, but where you're going can be far, far greater than the resources that are, seen from where you're coming from. So that's just something for you guys to think about. Schandorf, so I am very curious. So from Brekum, you went to KNUST, you met Aloysius. Tell me what happened, after KNUST, right? Can you let's delve into your first job, and your professional career journey from KNUST?
Awesome. That's great. So KNUST was a blessing, the kind of people we met and the opportunities that existed. So whilst we were in school, I was actually, when I met Aloysius, we started working. Aloysius was like a dreamer, he's an entrepreneur from the get-go. So we started our first work where we called Alo World. And during matriculation times, we'll be taking pictures of people and then be selling, right? And then we borrowed I think one of the stories that was really interesting was we borrowed cameras and registered people to take the matriculation pictures. And then we had, listed the people, they are all in the queue. They were taking the pictures, and then the camera owner came and said the parents are in. So we need the camera to do it. Oh, it was crazy. And we're using the names that we've been written in the books to like identify. So that's what we have used to do the queue. When the camera was taken, everything was distorted. So when we took
Oh,
pictures later, we couldn't even find the people to give their pictures to them. And then when they will see you on campus, literally, they want to beat you. So that was a great business Aloysius started and I supported. And then we did, and I learned a lot of things. I was selling, laptop screens. I was selling like a lot of things. Then I also got into student leadership, so I became the faculty president, ran for SRC as vice president. We lost actually, but you know, I learned a lot of things. And then also
wow.
I was in the student parliament. So when I was about to finish school, my plan was to like use social media, to like report on natural resources. So I started writing articles on Ghana Web, Modern Ghana, bring awareness over those things that in case if I finish school and I don't have a job, that's what I'm just going to do. And then I finished school. So I think we graduated in June at that time, which was a bit different from the usual. And Bank of Africa at that time was hiring. So we came to Accra for interview. I think we're about like 200 or maybe 200 plus people. And then they selected like five. And then by God's grace, I was one of them. So I went to Kumasi and I worked there for a while. And then the plan was that we would work as our national service there and then we'll be kept there for longer years. Along the way, we heard that the bank was being, transitioned from what they used to be to a different bank. So new structure, things have changed. Wow. So, national service have started. I know I have a job, so I'm not going to do anything. And then I think somewhere October, November, they said that no, they can't hold us. So we just have to, go back. I said,
Wow.
really? So I went to check, and then I've been posted to like a village in Kumasi, really, really like a typical village, extremely typical village. And then I said, wow, how can I? I could have been a T, I could have been on campus, work at lecturers, offices, at least the influence that we have. Bank of Africa, you came to us, all this inspiration, and then now you don't keep us for national service. And then I went to the place. It's somewhere village called Apento. It's at somewhere Bekwai. I went to look at the place and Prince, I cried that day. Cried
Oh
because
no.
it's far removed. And I came back and I said, okay, what do I do? Do I have to change it? So luckily enough, by the stress, I said, okay, let me watch a movie. And there was this movie called like Star on Earth. So I watched the movie and I was inspired by the story. And I said, okay, if they've made me to go and teach, because of this movie, I'm not going to change it. I'm just going there to teach. So I went there to
Mm.
teach for like 1 year. It was really great. They were also happy to have me. And that was when Aloysius also had already, we fully launching Farmerline. And so when I come around, I come to see my brother at the hub again. And then he said, okay, Shandy, you can join. And so I started joining. So yeah, I didn't even finish my service. Then
Oh, okay. Okay.
May 2013, I think officially, I got the opportunity to start at Farmerline. And then I went to my school and I was telling the headmaster that I have the opportunity to work. So what he did was that, okay, we can hire you after your service, but I can structure your period for you. So like from Monday to Wednesday, you can teach all your courses. And then from Thursday,
Oh, okay.
Friday, you can finish. And then I came and then Farmerline work and Farmerline was so amazing. Really, really like,
Wow.
foundational of my career, learned so much, like the possibilities,
Yeah.
innovation, make things happen. Well, it's a proud moment. So I worked at Farmerline for almost like 7 years. And
Yeah.
then finally, I have to also come to Jetstream. And so that's how the journey has been. But
Wow.
alongside, and I think after school, I was also organizing Youth Entrepreneurship Summit, training, but that was on ad hoc program, like, the great work that you're doing. So that's how the journey has been.
It's incredible how I see a lot of parallels between your journey and my journey as well. Like kind of organizing events and trying to, make the best, of our ability. So when you were at Farmerline, you worked there for 7 years, right? Like, what kept you going? Because one of the things I know for the startup environments is that it's not for everyone, right? Because the startup environment is quite, let's say, I call it organized chaos, right? So it can be quite chaotic sometimes, right? Because you don't have the full structures in place. And so you are building the structures as part of the startup, team, right? What is your experience at Farmerline like? Because I was able to witness, a bit of your journey, back then at Farmerline, but you were in there. Like, what was it like? What were the learning curves? What was the whole experience like with Farmerline?
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. And if I have to go back in time, I will still do the same. So from, from the beginning, Aloysius, the business, owner, and then Emmanuel, who was the tech person. So I joined as who was the technology, the CTO, and then I joined as the field person. So as the first, employee, and then we're organizing the
Wow.
farm. Yes, so organizing the farmer workshops, doing research, going to the field, and like gathering data and all of those things. The great things, about that place was, first of all, it was my brother, my friend. And so for me, nothing at all. I wanted to support my, what my brother is doing. That was one of the key things. But then there's a brother that you can trust, a brother that you think that has your back, you want to inspire you. My first laptop that I bought at the university, Aloysius really helped me to buy the laptop. Like found
Oh,
the laptop,
wow.
pushed me to go get it. And so there was that kind of tenacity, energy. Let's make it happen. And he used to tell me about the PayPal mafias, how, they went along to go do great things. So we're like, the Farmerland mafias, let's make something happen. So it was raw, but you see that tenacity, the desire to make things happen. There was that kind of also freedom. And then there was opportunity to do so many things, which later has really helped me in my career. So, at a point, I'm doing research, collecting data, helping in the products that you are developing, because you are gathering that insight from the field, from the farmers, and you're sharing them. You're also making a decision as a team leader, knowing the business, doing unit economics, impact assessment. So there were really, really a lot to learn. So I grew up from there as a field person, became value chain director, and then headed the farm services team as a director of farmer services, where we grew the numbers. I think even from myself, my team was about more than 25, staff.
Oh, wow.
That exactly. And then we started going to input finance, providing financing for the farmers. So there was so much to learn. Energy. We were living in the same house together. Like,
Yes, I
talk
remember.
about what? You wake up. It's like you don't stop. You don't stop. Hard work, and you could see Emmanuel who's out there. I've never seen somebody who is hard work than Emmanuel. Never in my life, man. So
Yeah.
one of cultures that everything that matters like work. Let's get things happen, not excuse. You go to the field, internet is not working, but we were made to make things happen. So those were really, really great things. And today they've helped me beyond, Farmerline. Those cultures really are the foundation of where God has brought me.
No, that's really solid. I see that also, like whenever I see the transition from the startup environment to like an already established company, I see those traits like because even with bigger companies, you still need the entrepreneurial drive, right? To be
Mm.
able to kind of think outside the box to come up with solutions that plague the companies, right? So it's really fantastic, the kind of qualities, like you mentioned, qualities that you picked up whilst working at Farmerline. Now let's look at Jetstream, right? So now we gradually getting into the topic. First of all, what is Jetstream, and can you tell us a little bit about Jetstream and what you do at Jetstream?
Okay, so Jetstream is an e-logistics and financing company. What it means is that we offer digital freight forwarding services. which is ability for us to ship your goods for you. If you have, say cashew that you want to ship to Vietnam, to India, you have shea butter you want to send to US, wherever it is, we are able to do that shipment for you by air, by sea, by land. We also do import. So if you buy a car, in the US, in China, in Korea, we can arrange the freight and then bring that cargo to your destination for you. And then also, based on depending on availability, we're able to give trade finance for people. And so, we've processed more than $20 million worth of goods on our digital platform. So we've also made a lot of impact. People are able to increase the volumes of shipment that they do with us by the fact that we are using digital technology called Jet Vision. So usually you know a freight forwarder or an agent that will be doing your shipment for you. Most of these things are done manually. You as the beneficiary cargo owner, you don't know whatever happens. What we are doing at Jetstream is to make sure people that own the cargo, the items that they are moving from one place to another, have clarity and visibility about the movement of the item. So once we are shipping for you, there is a platform that you can log in and say, okay, this car that I want to move from China, this item that I want to move from US, it has been picked up. Jetstream has brought to the airport. Jetstream has done the custom clearance, and then it's on its way coming to Kotoka International Airport. So we give you all of those kind of visibility on our digital platform. But literally, we are into freight forwarding backed by technology, and we also provide financing. So if you, for example, have a friend in India and say, okay, Prince, I want to source cashew from Ghana, right? But I don't know and I don't trust whether the goods will be, whether you're a good person. So what that I need is that if you can bring the cashew to the port and give it to an agent that I know, and the agent can confirm or put the goods on a ship,
Oh, okay.
right? If you can put the goods on a ship, I'll pay you. So you come to us as Jetstream, and then we would go along with you and buy the cashew for you based on the purchasing order that you have, and then arrange the entire shipment, pick it from Sampa, somewhere in Bruno region, bring it to the port, do all the custom brokerage, and make it available on the vessel, which is like the ship. And once that is done, we give, the first draft of the document for you to give to your buyer in India. And then once the buyer sees that the cashew, based on all the quality specification, is on the ship, which can never return, the buyer will then transfer the money to a joint account. Then we'll take our money in terms of the plus also the finance fee, and then give your balance to you. And that is merely something that we also done, but it's based on availability and also your credit, assessment or your credit score. And since 2021 to date, we've done more than $7 million financing for people. And the exporters that we finance, they've been able to increase their volumes and their productions more than 110%, more than 130%, really. So if the person was doing
Wow.
like 10 containers a month, we've been able to double that, and increase that. So that's what Jetstream does.
Oh,
And
wow. What?
I'm the MD. Yes.
No, but this like it's amazing because so, and I like that you mentioned the financing. That I have a friend like my very good friend Joshua. He has, and maybe you can help me brainstorm on this. So I have a friend who has like a huge pineapple farm. He supplies to, he has some companies that buy his pineapples, in the West.
That's right.
So I think 2 or 3 years ago, I was having a conversation with him, and he said that what he's struggling with right now is trying to get market. He has the capacity and the production leverage, but he's trying to get to like the big supermarkets in Europe.
Mhm.
And so I remember we even had a meeting with ITC, the International Trade Center or something. And then we were kind of trying to explore how they can help, Joshua get into, let's say, Lidl or Netto, any of those companies, do you do such kind of, let's say, do you provide such kind of services? So in this case, it's the other way around, right? A farmer in Ghana, let's use cashew, has huge cashew production volumes, and he's trying to get markets in, let's say, India, for example, or trying to get a buyer in India. Like, is it part of your services, or are you able to support such a farmer, or it's not within your domain?
Yes, thanks, Prince. So currently, that market access is not part of what we do currently. Of
Okay.
course, we can provide you some advice to help you how you can go about to find other, buyers. But our work really are just two. Our work is that you have found your own buyer. You want to
Okay.
get the goods to the buyer, but you don't know how to do that faster enough and a very cheap rate and efficient way. So we'll use our technology, our expertise, our team that is who are financists and they understand the port processes to arrange the pickup and then move the goods there for you. In addition to
Okay.
that, sometimes you've also secured a deal. You found your own buyer using, Facebook, LinkedIn to advertise your product, and somebody wants to buy, but then you don't have the capital to really pre-finance the goods. Then you come to us based on your credit history. We are able to use, technology to, assess you, to monitor the entire movement of the goods, the processes involved, and then provide you the funding. Then once it gets to the buyer, because you have agreed on the price already, we've done all the profit margin analysis and assessment, then the buyer receives the goods and pays you. We take our money and then our, service fee and give back to you. So people have to
Oh,
find their
okay.
buyers right and just come
Okay.
from.
Okay. Now, yeah, now I get it. I get it. But I think what Jetstream does is really crucial because, like I always think about, because I've worked in the logistics space before. A lot of people underestimate the crucial role like a company like Jetstream plays in driving even the economy of, say, Ghana, for example, right?
That's right.
Because if you take a look at everything we consume, not just Ghana, like anywhere in the world, there's always a point of manufacture where the product is manufactured, and it's a point of consumption where the product is consumed or used. In very rare cases, would you see that the point of manufacture and the point of consumption is the same location. In most instances, even if you take, your phones you're using, it's manufactured probably
Mhm.
somewhere in Foxconn in China somewhere, and then it's being used in another part of another part of the world. And it's the logistics function that ensures, one, that the goods that are coming in of the right quality, quantity arrives on times, saves cost and so forth. In your experience so far, right, with Jetstream, and if we take Ghana as a context, what are the, let's say, the top three problems that your company is trying to or has been able to solve, for like everyday customer that comes to Jetstream? Are there any like top three or top two, right? Do you have any use cases or examples that you can share with us?
Amazing. Yes, 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 Prince. So first of all, one is about even reduction in cost of moving your goods, right? So in this industry, logistics and supply chain, as you know, is really complex. And currently in Africa, it's also manual based. So you go to an
Yeah.
agent and you tell an agent, I want to ship. The agent will just come and give you a rate. You don't understand that rate, and
Yes.
you need to understand it. Then you are doing your things, but you really don't know where you are even spending much and all of that. For us at JustStream, we give you a very transparent pricing rate, so you know which cost items that you are paying for a particular shipment that you are doing. The second thing is also about the technology that we have, which is also a visibility platform. Mainly, we are providing you visibility. We are automating some of the processes that you use. So there are a lot of movements in supply chain, like about 84 kind of actions that you need to do to move a container of a black soap or shea butter from, Tamale to the US, Baltimore. Some of these, about 54% of that, even revolves around payments and all of those things. What Jetstream will do is that when you book a shipment with us, from the time that we will send a container to you, to your supplier in Tamale, you get notification on the platform and say the container is ready. It is going to Tamale. It is expected to be at the port on this day. You are expected to receive the cargo on this particular day. Even though you are not able to control so much of the processes, you have that visibility to better communicate with
Yeah.
the customers, right? And whatever happens along the way, because we have digitized the process, now you have reference, you have, some things that you can look through and improve, right? So those are the things. And then we also provide we provide you information, right? We have people that have the expertise. If you get to the port and the person that is clearing for you does not have the expertise about the port processes, you will delay your shipment. And when the shipment delays every single day, you are paying what we call demurrage or detention charges. And some it can go up to like 7,000 cities per day, or even
Yep.
1,000 cities per day, if let's say even if it's 1,000 cities, and your goods are at the port for 1 week because the officer does not have the licenses, does not fully understand the process. So those are that kind of complications that you have. And we have other partnerships in different countries. So we do door to door. And sometimes people don't also know. So when they move things from Ghana and they don't have somebody at the US who can clear for them, it could create a lot of complications. We have other agent networks across, Africa and in other countries. So we're able to do custom clearance in Ghana and also in the US. And better advise you, okay, use this HS code, prepare your document. This is how your document is supposed to be. And if you do that, you go through the process really, really well. So cost, visibility, and also transparency in the pricing and the cost that are involved in the shipment.
I think this is crucial because supply chain visibility is sometimes, let's say, underestimated, right? Because sometimes that kind of visibility, like I work in pharmaceutical supply, or I used to work in pharmaceutical supply chain. And what that means is that I need to make sure, because my reefer containers would have to be in specific temperature range. And so I need to make sure that in transit, I'm getting my data loggers to transmit the temperature data at specific regular intervals. And that can help me in case of any liability, right? So if my goods arrive and the temperature is 5% above the threshold, then I can hold someone responsible because I can say that, look, at the time that I was handing over my products to you, that this was the temperature, but how come when it arrived, I can see a temperature excursion. So people, sometimes, underestimate like the visibility. That supply chain visibility is super crucial,
That's right.
and I'm excited that, companies like, Jetstream are doing this, across Africa and, other parts of the world. It's really fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, any delays in supply chain is really expensive and can really knock you out of business. And so you need to minimize those things with technology and data.
And the fact that you mentioned technology brings us to the topic that I kind of wanted to pick your brain on, right? Because I know Jetstream is a tech company, or uses tech as a backbone for your operations. Now, in recent times, in the past couple of years, there's been this whole hubbub about artificial intelligence. And we look at several industries, and there are case studies and white papers being written about how AI is going to disrupt various industries. So I have two questions for you, right? This will probably my last two questions. Number one is that, is Jetstream deploying any form of AI in its operations to even increase on the service rendering to your customers? And number two, what what are some of the disruptions that you see AI is going to bring within the logistics space as far as you're concerned?
Amazing. Thanks, Prince. Yes, Jetstream is using AI. Our technology called Jet Vision is AI empowered technology. What it does is that we are able to, first of all, digitize the entire process flow of your shipment. So we go to the platform, right? And then we create what you call like a workflow, which literally says that to move a container from Tamale to Baltimore, these are the systematic processes that need to be done. Pick up the container, drive it to the port, do custom clearance, make payments, right? Book it, let customs examine it, gate in, put it on the vessel, it sails, it goes to transshipment port. So all of those kind of processes are really automated for you on the platform. The platform is learning, the machine is learning about these things. In subsequent shipment, the platform can tell you that if you move cargo from, Tamale to the US, it takes about 40 days, it takes about 30 days. And because we've done that per month basis, per quarter basis, several times, it can also even advise you that in a particular quarter, in a particular month, this is how the transit time really works.
Oh, okay.
So what does that mean to you? It means that you now are better informed to also communicate to your buyer so that they can also plan their sales and their inventories. So that is one of the things that we're doing. The second thing is about even cost. You are able to track because everything is digitized, you're analyzing the data. The platform is able to give you historic, costs that have been incurred in a particular corridor. And so you know those kind of things. And the supply chain does not involve one team, right? So the
Yes.
people that are on the field, the operations people, they understand certain part. They can do their work excellently well, but if the finance people who usually think that they are not part of the supply chain don't have the clear visibility, they can, cause a lot of delays and a lot of cost. For instance, if the container gets to the port, the operations person has done his work, but then the finance person missed that opportunity and is not able to pay, the container will not be put on the vessel. So you are going to miss, the vessel that you have already planned for, and it's going to be rolled to perhaps next week or next week because the vessels, they don't move every day.
Yeah.
Customers are going to be satisfied. You're going to pay for keeping your goods at the port. So the platform also allows all the actors within the value chain to know what action they need to take at each point in time. And the system would preempt them and say, okay, this particular shipment is expecting to arrive at the port tomorrow. You are expected to make payment at maybe 4 noon tomorrow morning so that you can get in, and then you prepare. We have what we call like times, right? So you set times and say, okay, if my container is at Tamale, historically, it comes to Accra within 2 days, right? So if day one, your supply chain has not updated that the container has arrived, based on the time that you set, you get notification. What do you have to do?
Okay.
You can proactively go down to act on that. The other part, there are so many use cases that we are using. In terms of the credits that we give, we are using technology to do analysis, to do the
Okay.
credit score, right? So even your booking, once you upload your document, the platform can scan the data and can, within like a minute, give you the assessment based on the data that we have on the platform. If you go to the
Wow.
bank will take like several weeks to just tell you, Prince, you qualify for X amount of money. But within 8 minutes, by uploading your document, whatever it is, we are able to give you assessment quickly
Wow.
and say, okay, you qualify or you don't qualify. So these are the
Wow.
things that we are doing with technology, helping people to reduce their cost, giving you insights, right? And telling you, even from Ghana to the US and China to this, like what are the trends? Which what of countries that you have a cheaper rate when you move cargo, transfer times, and you can share all of this information with other people. In the industry, there are so many things that is happening. Now even there are certain ports in China that is fully automated. Robots are really getting involved and all of those things. And I think it's going to be exciting. Payment is one of the key things that artificial intelligence can help on, right? In the sense that once everything is automated and you know that this is the time that you have to pay, you get a notification, you can do cross-border payment. Sometimes you have situations where people have paid shipping lines, and because the settlement was not real time, the shipping lines have not received value for the money. I can't move your car, and they lose on all of these things. So this is what we are doing.
Oh, it's amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. And my last question is, and this is just for just to get your mind on this. Are the robots coming for our jobs? From where you're sitting?
No, I think they would. Human beings are really special, right? And I follow this man called Naval. It's one of the NAVAL. The robots would do things that is, very tedious and manual. But what that would allow you to do is to have the opportunity to now think more creatively, that the robots will not be able to do that. So they may be able to do X, Y, Z, but then there's also opportunity for you to go and do ABC. The only thing is that you also have to be able to learn faster and iterate and see where the posts are going and respond to that way. So the robots are going to help us, going to make work easier. Now think about Google, right? Now you can do all the kind of search, right? So you may not, if you're operating like a library, it may not be helpful for people. People may not come to the library like they used to come, right? But as a librarian, there is another thing that you can do, even with the technology that has come, if you want to. So now, look, this is a kind of library that we've created, right? Or like maybe perhaps we could have organized the meeting in one room. We are not doing that way. We are doing it online, right? Yeah. So robots would come for a certain part of our work. It's going to give us opportunity and free time for us to also creatively do other things. And it's all for the betterment of humanity.
So if you're watching this and you're kind of scared, Schandorf says, don't be scared. You just have to learn faster. You have to know that certain jobs definitely would be taken over by robots, but then you have more time to think creatively and to come up with other solutions to the problems that we have in society. Schandorf, we are wrapping up. What would be your final words for my viewers today, by way of, it could be a quote, it could be a word of inspiration, it could be an advice, whatever it is that you want to leave with the audience, please feel free and go ahead.
Wow. Thanks so much, Prince. I think that, it's a great section. I'm really happy. Whatever we want to become, I believe to the largest extent, we are masters of our soul and captain of our destiny. God has already blessed us, right? And God is already with us. We continue to enjoy the grace of God. However, we can really, I believe that life is like a game. When we're young, we thought like winning a match is sort of like a miracle. It's like luck. But as we've grown to see the way the game is played today, it means that it is predictable. You can literally see a team that is going to win by the actions they take, the number of shots that they send to their opponent's goal post, the hold and all of those things. The same applies to your life. It is like a game and you can play to win. If you leave it for chance, it's not going to happen. But once you keep learning, you keep talking to other people, watching videos, being consistent, developing yourself, just go in. I think this generation also is a bit different from our generation. It's like those days you want to just volunteer, you want to do internship.
Yes,
you want to
yes.
that's the motivation. I feel like today people really don't care about those things. They just want to really get opportunity and growth. It doesn't happen that way. It's a process. So it's going to be great, but you have to make it that way and think big and start small. There's no safety in playing small. There's a big safety, when you think big and network with other people like the way we are. And if you don't succeed today, definitely we'll succeed one day if you remain committed. Thanks so much, friends.
Thank you, Schandorf. And I would like to say a big thank you because I know you have a kind of a very busy schedule, and I know that the logistics space is like 24/7. So I really appreciate your time, spending time with us, sharing your journey, a very humble background from Brekum, to KNUST, to Farmerline, to Jetstream, now being the MD of Jetstream Ghana. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for sharing these nuggets with us. And for those of you who tuned in, I really appreciate your time as well. I'm always motivated every weekend when I speak to my guests. So I would say that have a good weekend, everyone. And definitely I'll catch you in the next episode of People Who Inspire. See you next week, and bye-bye.